YouTube Ozick going the Goat House is back. After day 2 of the NFL draft, I'm here with my big winners. We're actually going to go over my best picks of round 2, best picks in round 3, interesting picks, and then overall the biggest winners of day 2. Pretty wild day, mainly because the quarterbacks that slid into round 3, very, very surprising, actually. So I'm excited to break a lot of this down here. I went over every single pick on Twitter. So if you're looking for some quick thoughts on any pick, go on our Twitter. It's on your screen, link down below. They're in order, obviously. We'll do the same thing for day 3 tomorrow. So it's a good reason to check out the Twitter here. We're not going to talk about every pick. We might not even talk about great picks. We're talking about the best picks, interesting picks here in this video, but going to break down a lot. Here's our Twitter. Again, just a lot of thoughts on every pick here. So if you're looking for more, you can find more there on our Twitter always. And then here's the schedule. I've kind of shown this before. So tomorrow's the last day. So down to Saturday, live analysis on pretty much every pick there for day 3. Day 3 winners and losers video will come out. And then undrafted free agency signings video, best undrafted free agents, which we do every single year. So I'm excited about all that there. So the best round 2 picks. So if it's not listed, doesn't mean it's not good. There's plenty other good picks to try to narrow it down as best I can here. Again, all my thoughts on Twitter, but these were the best picks in my opinion. I mean, starting with the Bucks, I really like Logan Hall as a first round pick. A lot of upside, 30th overall player. They take him at 33, so not much of a difference there. But I just really like the fit. Could play a little bit what Jason Pierre-Paul did, who was kind of edge, but sometimes they would kind of play him at 3-4 end. In Golson's spot, who's on a 1-year deal with the Bucs, so he kind of can play there. Can play Ndamukong Suh's spot, the defensive tackle position, who is a free agent, obviously, so can move around a bit. They'll get the most out of Logan Hall there, so I'm excited to see his upside. So another Hall here, Breece Hall, who is my top running back in the draft. A little surprised the Jets went with them, but I really, really like it. Just not afraid to get better at that position when they got other guys that they like. They brought in Michael Carter last year, who's kind of a RB2, receiving upside there. So I like that. They didn't really settle. They went and got the best running back in the class, made sure they got over the Texans. So I really like that from the Jets. Andrew Booth Jr. is a fantastic pick. I had him as the 20th overall player in the draft. We know the Vikings needed a corner, so they end up getting him. And they end up adding a second-round pick with their whole situation starting today, too. And they still get Andrew Booth Jr., so that was a fantastic pick there for the Vikings. They're really building up that secondary. Josh Pascal, my guy, the NFL drafted guy, I was way higher on than the rest of the planet, it felt like. I just love the versatility. Exactly what the Lions could use in there. They're going to move him around a bit, pairing him with Hutchinson, pairing him with some of those defensive linemen they drafted last year. And I mentioned in the past, so you got to use this. He's not Aaron Donald, not even close, but you got to use him like Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald is a D tackle that lines up as an edge sometimes, a lot of the time over the tackle, 3 technique, nose tackle. It's just the same way you got to use Pascal there. Brad Holmes, familiar with that Aaron Donald style of play, and who's now the GM of the Lions too. So I'm just a big Pascal fan there. Another guy I'm a big fan of, Saints take Allante Taylor, who I felt like I was way higher on than most. He wasn't really getting any second-round talks. I felt pretty good when the Saints took him in the second round. I really like him at corner. Some talk about him being able to play safety. I can see that as well because he's really good attacking downhill, attacking the ball, physical, long, athletic, a playmaker. So I think he'd be their second-best corner if they want to play him there. And the Saints will get the most out of Taylor there. Steelers get George Pickens, which it wasn't super surprising, super crazy value. I know a lot of people did have him as late first, so maybe it was surprising to some. But a pretty good receiver room there. You didn't expect him to fall that far, though, so maybe too good to pass on that point. So definitely expect him to go on by before then at least, even if you thought he was a second-round pick. But yeah, the Steelers really looking good in terms of that receiver department there. And then what I thought was the best pick of round 2 was Skye Moore, who was my receiver 5, had a first-round grade on him. Loved the release, loved the footwork, the route running ability to play outside in the slot after the catch. I thought it was an option for the Chiefs in the first round. They get him late second. That was the best pick. Close second probably be Andrew Booth Jr. because he was my 20th overall player. Skye Moore is actually 21st, so they're right next to each other. Where they got Skye Moore is just ridiculous value there. And then James Cook, which I thought was the best fit who was pictured right there of round 2, just because the Bills, past first team, you get they're looking for those receiving upside running backs, and you got the ultimate one of the draft here with James Cook, who's actually getting a lot better as a runner, sees the hole, hits the hole, home run hitter after the hole as well. That's one. The Bills were already arguably Super Bowl favorites, perhaps best roster, but that's like one of those picks that kind of like nudges them over the top, because it's just such a big factor and going to be a mismatch problem for teams. It just makes that offense even more dangerous than what it was. So those are my favorite round 2 picks. There's a lot of other good ones as well. I know people are probably disappointed that the Bears went defense with those round 2 picks, but those were solid picks as well. I like Kyler Gordon. There's quite a few other picks I liked in round 2. But on to round 3. Best draft picks. The Colts going with my favorite tight end in the class, Jelani Woods. Colts usually pretty good with those tight ends as well, so I'm very excited to watch him play in that Colts offense. Doyle retired, obviously. It's the freaky dude. Do not see that guy. Falcons take Desmond Ritter. Some thought it'd be a first-round pick, maybe a second-round pick. They get him down here in the third. It's an excellent fit. Was kind of tied for best fit here, because I do like him in that rollout offense. Arthur Smith. His system behind Mariota makes a lot of sense there. Texans getting Christian Harris. That was a very good value pick there in round 3. That was a round 2 player, very versatile, athletic, can play off the edge, can blitz at a high level, just all over the place, made himself some money, I thought, in that national championship game. Ravens get Travis Jones. I had him mocked to the Ravens, actually, in the second round. They get him in the third. So good pairing, good fit, good pairing with Michael Pierce there up in the front. So that was a good pick. Bernard Ryman was a very good value pick for the Colts here. So the Colts pop up twice here in round 3. They did have 4 picks total. It's a weird thing about the Colts. I don't know if I love the other 2 picks. Not that I hate them, really. I don't know if I love the other 2 picks, but I love these 2 picks. So they were kind of like 50-50 there, but I really like these picks. Ryman we just thought was a lock as a second-round pick, right? And he ends up slipping to the Colts. One of the better picks on the day, really, because he could potentially start. Another one of the better picks on the day, Nakobe Dean, who many thought was a first-round pick. Yeah, I was kind of feeling him in the second, if you've been following us here, but he ends up slipping to the third. And the Eagles finally get a linebacker. He might be the best linebacker on the Eagles. He bypassed the surgery, so I guess has some injury concern, a little undersized, but fantastic ball player there. The Eagles upgrade the linebacker position. Maybe the biggest surprise overall in the entire draft, who most people had as the best quarterback in this class because of his upside, because of his arm strength, because of athletic ability, slides all the way to round 3, and the Tennessee Titans get him, who kind of needed a quarterback as well, the future. Tannehill for now. Willis is a guy that can sit, and it's a perfect situation to sit. It's just incredible how this all went down here with Malik Willis. Very likable kid, too, as well. So I thought that was the best pick. I mean, my number 1 quarterback, 24th overall player in the draft. Titans, perfect situation, needed a quarterback. It's ridiculous, really what it was. And then Matt Corral comes off to the Panthers. They did trade a future third along with the 4th to get up here, so pay a high price. But they were in on Matt Corral. We heard that from the beginning. They get a solid quarterback, solid value here. A lot of upside, very good release, quick release from him. So, it's a very solid pick there. Just surprising where these quarterbacks went. And then what I thought was the best fit, close one with Desmond Ritter, but I've been preaching that Channing Tindall needs that blitz, heavy blitz defense, also man coverage, and that's exactly where Tindall went. That's the Dolphins' defense. Even though they don't have Flores, they're going to run the same defense. Pretty confident with that. And Tindall was a very good value pick as well, because I thought he can go in the second round. Yeah, he was a backup, so I guess that could be why. But he played behind Quay Walker, who was a very good. He's a first-round pick, and Tindall just has that freaky traits, athleticism, that upside, and that Georgia defense was ridiculous. So just go, in the Miami defense, who needed a linebacker, unlike Georgia, who's loaded at linebacker, and he's got a lot of upside, playing in there. So those are the best round 3 picks. There was some other ones that actually might have listed on this, the interesting picks, mainly interesting in kind of a good way. Because Kenneth Walker, running back 2, very talented running back, still has some upside catching the ball in the backfield. I guess that was the concern because he didn't do it a whole lot, but a physical runner. The Seahawks grab him, and it's just interesting because they get a really good running back here, but they have Rashad Penny, who broke out big time last year, but on a 1-year deal. They have Chris Carson, who's a stud of a running back. 1 more year left on his deal. He's got the injury concern, so the Seahawks loading up on running backs here. It's just interesting, but he's a good player at the same time. Ravens take David Ajabo. Overall, it's a good pick. I mean, they needed a pass rusher. They get him. It's interesting because, yeah, he won't be playing right away because he tore that Achilles, but will he be coming back at some point for maybe a playoff run for the Ravens or in the playoffs, perhaps? And the most interesting part is Mike McDonald, who is the Michigan defense coordinator, Coach Ajabo, who really broke out this year, kind of came out of nowhere this year. He is defensive coordinator for the Ravens now, so it's a perfect fit in there. Just got to get healthy, work on that run-stopping ability because he's got work to do there, but a very good pass rusher, had first-round upside if he was healthy. Patriots take Taekwon Thornton. This was a little bit of a surprise because they trade up for him, and a lot of people had Thornton graded round 3, round 4, and maybe it was a little early. Maybe they need to trade up a little bit for him. But overall, it's kind of interesting in a good way because I talked about Thornton. He had a really good tape. He had a really good tape because he's super fast, but more than that, really good footwork, solid route runner. The length shows up on tape, gets open, and just burns by everyone after. The tape was so good that he's the tape says he's kind of worth the second-round pick. And I'd say if he had weight on him, if he was over 200 pounds, we might even be talking him probably early second, but maybe late first even. That's the problem, though. Extremely, extremely thin frame because he's about 6'3", and he's 181 around there. It might be generous. So how will he deal against the press in the NFL? And you're playing against some secondaries in that division that are going to press quite a bit and are pretty good doing it. So that's kind of the question there. But talent is there. We'll just see how it works out. Obviously, the Patriots really liked him. Cowboys with Jalen Tolbert is very interesting because, Gallup's going to start the year off injured. They obviously lost Amari Cooper. They got CeeDee Lamb in there, and CeeDee Lamb who plays inside and out. Tolbert's kind of a bigger body, that guy that can play outside and in. And it's interesting because it's kind of fantasy upside here to start the year because I think he's going to start the year. That's kind of what it feels like here, and I think it's a pretty good fit as well. Buccaneers getting Rachaad White, who's my running back 5 from Arizona State, up there as one of the best receiving options, the running backs from this class. He almost looks like a receiver, like body control, attacking the ball, but he's a very good runner as well. See him hurdle a lot of guys, dangerous in the open field, sees the hole very well. It's going to be fun with the Buccaneers. Their pass offense, they're loaded in their running back room, though. So just a very interesting one. The 49ers take Ty Davis-Price from LSU, who is one of my favorite backs in the class, mainly because I was way higher on him than everyone else. He just feels like a 49ers running back. Got a lot of running backs, and it's interesting pick. Apparently, I find the running back picks interesting. Davis-Price, I like him with the 49ers. Deep running back room. How much is he going to play? But they obviously like him. They obviously like running backs. I'm a big fan of him. Bengals, Zachary Carter, very interesting pick. I like him. He's underrated. I like it. I had him graded as a 4th-round player. But I kind of like it. It's kind of one after the fact. I like the fit with the Bengals. The Bengals are very good using their defensive linemen, developing their defensive linemen. On Zachary Carter, he kind of played off the edge. He did line up over the tackle a bit, mainly off the edge, but showed his physicality, his power, kind of the bull rush, really stopped the run at a very high level. So I listed him with the defensive lineman because I thought he maybe play 3-4 end or 3 technique. The Bengals were looking for a 3 technique, so I think they're going to develop him into that. But they could also slide him off the edge as well. I just really like the fit. It's just a very intriguing one here. And it's just kind of one of those ones where happens every year where, I grade the guy in the 4th round, I take him in the 3rd, but I like it. I like it better than where that value says it is, And then the Commanders take Brian Robinson Jr., Alabama running back, who is another one of my guys. I had him running back 4. I feel like I was higher on him than most people, or maybe everybody as well. Very physical runner, can block, and very underrated catching the ball. Just extremely physical. I love that Cincinnati tape so much there. So the Commanders got a very good running back there. They already have a very good running back group, though, so how much is he going to play? So overall, the biggest winners of day 2. It's tough to split these up. I was kind of changing them up. I went with the Lions, actually. I just love Josh Pascal so much. I love the fit with the Lions. I know Brad Holmes sees what I see in him. He didn't really have any second-round buzz. I was thrilled that somebody took him to second. I would have been fine taking him late 1. That's how much I liked him. I think the Lions will use him properly, and I like the guys that are already in place at the Lions that kind of fit with him, complement each other very well. And Kirby Joseph, that was a very good pick as well. Wasn't one of the very best. There's more picks I would consider best, but didn't want to just list a million picks on those last slides. It was borderline there. I like Kirby Joseph a lot. One of the true single high free safeties of this class. A lot of upside. Just got going last year. Extremely lengthy, has the ball skills, the playmaking ability. So I really like what the Lions did here. They got two really good players here, two really good fits. Tennessee, I was thinking about them one just because the Malik Willis pick was the best pick of the day, really. And so that's kind of what's putting them up here. The other picks were all right. They definitely weren't bad. They weren't like great. McCreary in the second round, all right. A little surprised they took him over some other corners, but very productive this year in a lockdown type of way, and a solid man corner there. And then Petit Frere from Ohio State. That's like right around where I thought he would go. Kind of growing on me, though, because he has the ability to possibly start at right tackle from right away, but that could be that future left tackle because maybe they're moving on from Luan after this year. But that Malik Willis pick, maybe the best overall pick on the entire day here. Titans needed that quarterback for the future. Perfect situation, in my opinion, and they grab him. The Ravens did a heck of a job. David Ajabo, great fit. McDonald in there, that's fantastic. It could help them down the stretch here, even though he's hurt, but help them down the stretch for that playoff run or in the playoffs if they get there. So that was fantastic. Has that first round upside. And then Travis Jones, who we thought, maybe you thought it was a better shot. He goes late first and third, and he goes third. I had him mocked to the Ravens in the second round. Again, they get him in the third, so I think it's a really good fit as well. And the Texans wasn't the biggest Petrie guy compared to everyone else, but a very solid ball player. Unique ball player here. So Texans grab him, a solid player. I like John Mechie. John Mechie was one of those guys that maybe I was a little higher on than most people. Has experience at X receiver and in the slot. I think he's got a lot of upside in the slot in the NFL. So I like that pick. Another Alabama guy, Christian Harris, who's one of the better picks maybe today in the third round, second round talent. So the Texans did a really good job. And I listed off a few other teams that were pretty much tied. I mean, all these teams were so close. I kept changing my mind on who was actually number 1, 2, 3. It's really not what it's about. It's just which teams dominated day 2 here. But the Colts, two picks I really, really like in Jelani Woods, my number 1 tight end. And Bernard Ryman was a fantastic pick as well. Could possibly start. Alec Pierce, it felt like a Colts receiver. A little early for me. I know people were going crazy because his testing numbers. Did he really show those testing numbers on the field, though? Wasn't super far off, but they weren't really present that much. I thought they would have went with, if they would have went Skye Moore, which like I thought they would, the Colts probably be number 1 on this list with those other picks. And then Nick Cross, who I like, experience at free and strong, like him better at free, like the downhill ability, like the playmaking, the athleticism. They did trade away a next year third. They traded away a lot to go up and get them, and they have safeties on their team. They're definitely changing what type of safeties because I thought like Blackman and Willis were great. Not great, but good. And then they're kind of going with McLeod and Cross. You trade up to get Cross. I think you're trying to start him. So, 2 picks that I didn't really love, didn't hate, and then 2 picks that I really liked. And the 49ers got a pretty good group of guys. Drake Jackson should fit in well, like a boomer bust type of guy, upside guy. But the Niners make sure those guys are booms, not busts at the defensive end position. And then I like Ty Davis Price. And Danny Gray, I thought was a very good kind of borderline, one of the best picks for the third round, too. Again, we couldn't just cram a bunch of picks in there, but I like Danny Gray a lot. Home run hitting receiver, should be productive with the Niners. And the Chiefs, mainly the Skye Moore. I like Brian Cook, solid pick. Leo Chenal, I know people were surprised where he went, but that didn't surprise me. That's kind of where I had him. Kind of an early down player, maybe a liability in coverage, but can blitz. But overall, solid day for the Chiefs. The Steelers grabbing George Pickens and DeMarvin Leo. I like Leo as a fit right behind Stephon Tuitt, who's very, very good, but has injury concern, 1 year left in his deal. So I like the Leo fit. And that's where I thought he would go around that range. But I really like the fit behind Tuitt there. And the Vikings got somewhat of a haul. Andrew Booth Jr. is one of the better picks on the day. Ed Ingram, maybe a little early, but they needed that guard. And they get Brian Asamoah, who I really like from Oklahoma as well. And the Falcons got a haul, kind of like the Colts, kind of like 2 that I like. I like the Colts a little bit better. Like Ritter, I really like. Ebiketie, I like. It's kind of where he should have went, but I like the fit. And they get Malone, solid. Troy Anderson. I wasn't a huge Troy Anderson guy. A lot of upside there. Struggled to get off blocks, very raw. Didn't play the best competition either. So they got a haul there though for Atlanta. And there was other good drafts as well. plenty of other good drafts. Pretty much everyone's a winner because everyone's getting better at this time of the year. It's why it's a great time of the year with the NFL draft. I did the same video pretty much for day one, so if you haven't seen that, go check it out. I also graded every day one pick, so you can check that out as well. And we got other videos up on the channel. We could definitely got more to come. Like we said, we'll have you covered on Twitter for every day three pick for the most part. Definitely some really good players left. We're breaking everything down on Twitter, like I just said, and we'll have day three winners video just like this one tomorrow. We'll have undrafted free agency, big time signings tomorrow night as well, and then Sunday, maybe a way too early 2023 mock, which we always do the Sunday after the draft. So join us for all that. Like, subscribe, turn notifications on. It's gonna do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.